Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well today. We have already finished all the content from the historical evolution of the city section. Time flies, right? Today, we will be starting a new session, understanding the spatial elements of cities. So, in this first lecture, we will be discussing the city image and its elements. When we talk about building a city's image, it's important to understand that it's a two-way process. On one hand, we have the physical structure of the city, the distinct buildings, streets, and spaces, and how they related to one another. On the other hand, we as individuals select, organize, and give meanings to what we see based on our experiences and perceptions. This means that how a city is designed and how we interpret it go hand in hand. In other words, the way a city looks and how we interpret it are connected. This is where ideals like image abilities and legibilities come in. Imageabilities is about how easy it is to form a clear mental picture of the city. Do things stand out? Do they make sense? And legibilities is how easy it is to navigate to understand the cities as we move around. Both these things really affect how satisfies we feel about a place and how we perceive it, whether it's very organized, confusing, or somewhere in between. This brings us to Kevin Lynch, a key figure in urban planning who really shaped this idea. Kevin Lynch was American's urban planner and author. He was a strong advocate for mental mapping, which he described in his most influential book, The Image of the City, published in 1960. He argues that the people create a set of mental images when they experience a city. These images help us understand and navigate our surroundings. His work has had a huge influence on the fields of environmental psychologies and environmental behavior. This idea changing the way we think about and design cities to be more in tune with human experiences. According to Kevin Lynch, in the image of the city, he explained that there is a public image of any city, and that image is created by overlapping individuals' perceptions. Even though each of us forms our own unique mental map of a city, when you combine all these individual images, we get a broader public image of the city. He went further to break down the elements that make up these mental images of the cities into five type of elements: paths, edges, districts, nodes, and landmarks. So let's talk about paths first, which are really key to how we experience and understand a city. Our familiarities with a city is often linked to how familiar we are with its past. If you are very familiar with a city, you probably know the street names by heart and don't even need to rely on GPS to get around. Paths are the channels along we move, whether it's regularly, occasionally, or even potentially in the future. These paths can include streets, walkways, transit lines, canal, and railroads, basically en route that we use to navigate through the city. Paths are where the flow of activity happens. As people move along this path, they engage with the surroundings, form habits, and develop a sense of place. Paths are the predominant element in the image of a city. As we look at the street patterns from cities, you will notice that the layout of this path plays a crucial role in how we navigate and perceive the city. The street layout not only affect how we move, but also help to define the character of the city, whether it's the orderly street of New York, the historic windy street of Rouen, or the great boulevards of Paris. These patterns give each city its unique sense of place and identity. Now, let's think about how we actually perceive paths in a city. We don't just see them as individual streets or routes, they are part of a bigger network. All these paths connect and related to one another. When a city has a regular ordered layout, like a grid or a street consistent pattern, it makes it a lot easier for people to form a mental map of the place. In cities like this, we can understand how everything fits together pretty quickly, and it's easier to get around without feeling lost. And the structure helps us feel more familiar and comfortable with where we are. Everything else in the environment, like buildings, landmark, and other features, tend to be arranged in relation to this path. It's almost like the path acts as a backbone of the city, and everything else gets organized around them. Path plays a huge role in tying a city together, and the city of Stockholm is a great example of this. The paths they are designed to connect people to important areas like the city center, public transport, and walkable street. Whether they are walking to shops, restaurants, or cultural spots, the paths make everything feel close and accessible. They also connect to parks and waterfront areas, giving residents easy access to nature and recreational spaces. The way the city's blocks are designed creates natural walking paths, making it easy to get around and giving city a strong sense of connection. This shows how well planted paths can improve life by linking everything together in a way that feel connected and easy to access. Now let's talk about nodes, which are basically the strategic spots in the city. They are the point that people focus on and move towards, depending on where they are going. They are often referred to as courts because they serve as important gatherings or transitions points. For example, junctions, places where transportation breaks, crossings, or convergence of paths are all nodes. It could also be a point where there is shift from one structure to another, like going from residential areas into a commercial one. Sometimes nodes are simply places where a certain use or character condenses, like busy street corners or a popular square. In some cases, these nodes become a heart of a district, acting as a major features that defines the area. Now let's take a look at our map of Brussels to really visualize how these nodes functions within the city. As we examine the map, uh, um, you will notice how certain junction transportation hubs and public squares stand out as a major nodes. Let's look at Paris and one of its most iconic nodes, the Arc de Triomphe. This spot is where 12 major avenues converge, making it a key node in the city. It's not just a major point for traffic flow, but it's also a landmark that ties together different parts of Paris. Okay, let's take a quick look at Bourne Bridge in Cape Cod. This bridge acts as a keynote where paths from different directions come together as a main entry point to Cape Cod. It's a crucial spot that organized traffic flows in and out of the area. This graph is a perfect example of a node where lots of streets come together. This is a central spot where people gather and it connects different parts of the city. You will notice how everything seems to flow into this space, making it an important point for both movement and activity. Now, let's talk about edges. Both paths and edges are linear features in a city, but what's the difference between them? A path is something we typically move along, like street or sidewalk. It's a connection that helps us travel through the city. On the other hand, an edge is more of a boundary. It marks separations between different areas. Examples of edges in cities include shores, barriers on the edge of development, or walls. Sometimes edges act as a barrier, closing one region off from another, like rivers or highway. Other times, they serve as seams where two areas are connected or joined, like bridge or a shared border. Edges plays important roles in organizing the cities by holding larger areas together, like when a city is outlined by waters or a wall, giving it a clear boundary. Let's check out a famous edge, the Mason and Dixon line. It started as a way to settle a borders dispute, and it's eventually become a symbolic lines dividing the North and the South in the U.S. It's a perfect examples of how an edge isn't just a physical boundary. It can also represent big social and cultural differences. Now let's look at the national highway system as an example of an edge. Highways serve as clear boundaries that often divide neighborhood or district. They can separate. They can create separations between areas, making it difficult to cross from one side to another. In many cases, highways are strong edges that shape how city grows and how people navigate. They act as both physical and psychological barriers within the urban landscape. Okay, let's take a look at the neighborhood of Austin's on the left. As you can see, different neighborhoods in Austin are separated by natural features like rivers and man-made features such as highways or major road. These edges create clear boundaries between neighborhoods, giving each area its own identities and a sense of place. Looking at Bowling Creek neighborhood future land use map, this map shows how different areas within the neighborhood are planted for specific type of development. The edges help structure the neighborhood future growth, ensuring that the different type of land use are clearly separated and integrated in a way that makes sense for the community. Okay, now let's move on to the district. Districts are usually two-dimensional and cover a relatively large areas in city. You can think of a district as the areas that feels like the space you're inside of. Within a district, they are common and identifiable characteristics that make it unique. So, what gives a district its distinct characters? It can be influenced by things like class, urban forms, or ethnic concentration. So, for example, think about Chinatowns in many cities. Its unique characters comes from its concentrations of Chinese culture with distinct architectures, shops, and cultural elements that set it apart from other districts. This is what makes Chinatown feel like its own district areas within the larger city. Let's take a look at New York City's Manhattan, which is a great example of the cities that were oriented because of its clear defined district. You have distinct areas like Midtown, known for its commercials and the business activities, filled with skyscrapers, office, bustling streets, and iconic landmarks like Times Square. It's the heart of economic activities in the city. Um, then we have residential areas like the Upper West Side and Upper East Side, each with its own unique character. The Upper West Side is more laid back and known for its cultural landmarks like Lincoln Center, allowing along with its proximities to Central Park. The Upper East Side, on the other hand, known for its upscale residence, high-end boutiques, and art galleries. This district make navigating Manhattan much easier because you can identify the areas based on its urban form and activity. Districts are shaped by a few key physical characteristics. These include things like textures, the feels of surface, the way space is organized, and the form or shape of buildings. We also have design details, symbols, building types, and what the areas is used for, or the activities that happen there. The people who live there, how well the areas is maintained, and even the nature topography all helps given a district its unique identity. Now, let's take a look. Let's take a look at landmarks, which are the key point references that help us understand and identify a place. Landmarks provide clues for identities. They are the things we see and recognize from a distance. Unlike paths and districts, we don't typically enter landmarks. Instead, we observe them from the outside, and they help us orient ourselves. Examples of landmarks can be anything from a sign, a store, a mountains, or a building. You can think about how these elements stand out in a city's or landscape, making it easier for us to understand where we are. There are basically two common type of landmarks that we can recognize in a city. The first type is an element that's visible from many locations. A great example is the Washington's Monument in DC. It stands out from a distance, so no matter where you are in the cities, it helps you orient yourself. The second type of landmark creates a local contract with the nearby elements. Take the Alamo in San Antonio as an example. It's smaller and more intimate, but it stands out because it's a contract with surroundings of modern buildings. Let's take a look at how the two type of landmarks applies right here at Texas A&M University. So first, we have landmarks that are visible from many locations, like water towers and the academic buildings. They are large, permanent structures that you can spot from across campus. They're easy reference point, no matter where you are. And then we have landmarks that create a local contract with the surroundings. The Bonfire Memorial is a great example of this. It's not as large as some of the other landmarks in the campus, but it stands out because of its emotional significance and the way it's contract with the rest of the campus. Kiel Field also served as a key point that stand out, especially during special events like games. This landmark all plays a role in helping us navigate the campus and shape us connection to different areas. Now, let's think about how we can understand cities through a color palette, just like when we mix colors to create different shades. So in this case, the primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors represent different elements of the cities. These elements act as raw materials of building design. So when we combine and pattern these elements together, they create the satisfying form, just like how different colors can be blended to create a beautiful painting. But there's the important part. When we mix certain elements, especially unlike elements, we can either reinforce what makes a city special, or they can completely destroy that unique character. It's the way these elements interact with each other that shapes how we experience the cities and whether it feels cohesive or disjointed. Paris is a good example of how elements reinforce its character. The Eiffel Towers and the Arc de Triomphe are the most recognizable landmarks in the city, and they served as a key focal point. These primary elements not only help people navigate through the city, but they also give Paris its iconic identity. Second element in Paris, like its paths and notes, the wide boulevards such as Champs-Élysées are perfect examples of paths that connect key parts of the cities, while also enhancing the visibilities of important landmarks like the Arc de Triomphe. Notes such as Place de la Concorde act as a major intersections where these paths converge. This node serves as a crucial gathering point and help further organize the city's layout, making it easier for people to navigate and move between different areas. The river Sion serves as a natural edge, dividing the cities into two distinct areas, the left bank and the right bank. The left bank is known for its artistic and intellectual history, where the right bank is more associated with businesses and commerce. These divisions by the rivers not only create clear boundaries but also contributes to a city's rich and diverse identity. So in this example, the elements reinforce each other with the landmarks, paths, nodes, and edges working together to create a clear and cohesive image of the city. They make Paris feels a well-organized and memorable place. Next, let's talk about how elements in a city can actually destroy its character. I will use modern urban sprawl as an example. In many sprawl cities, highways and major roads, which cater primarily to cars, dominate these cities. Nodes such as large intersections or freeway exit focus on vehicle traffic rather than pedestrian movement. Additionally, edges like highways and large walls further divide and isolate different areas of the cities, creating barriers between districts. Suburban development and commercial districts are spread far apart, requiring the use of cars for even the most basic tasks. These districts are often isolated by the large edges created by the road infrastructure. There are notable lack of meaningful landmarks that could help guide people through the cities or give a sense of identity to area. Without clear focal points, it's become difficult to navigate or form a mental image of the city layout. Okay, I think this is all I want to talk for this topic. Next class we will have lectures on life between buildings.